evening, Gabriel Hirsch. Thank you for being on. Is it Gabriel?
I get called a lot of things.
Well, what is it?
Gabby is most common.
All right, so good evening, Gabby.
Good evening.
Thank you for being on Cozy Up and Pay Attention this evening. As before we get this evening started, I'd like to introduce you to my mom, and we're going to call her my mom. Someone I'm most proud of and was most proud of me. I no longer have her with me, but as long as I'm breathing, she's alive in my heart, in my spirit. Along with this table of wonders is a wonderful water that I found, I think along the time when the pandemic started. I have it delivered to my house because I order 8 tubs at a time. And it's called Simple Truth. Not only do I think it's a great water, and I'm an avid water drinker, it goes along with my personality. I'm a simple person, and I try most of the time to tell the truth. I don't make this stuff up. It's already on the bottle. I just so happen to like it. I thought it was funny once I kept drinking and said, Simple Truth. Maybe I'm supposed to drink this water. Simple Truth, ladies and gentlemen. Also, my cozyism, and pay attention. First published book, I am working on the second one. Simple aphorisms about life and thoughts that run through my head, and usually runs through most other people's heads. Most of them make you say, or laugh or smile, but what it does, it definitely makes you think. And I'd like to be a part of helping most people put that brain back in gear. God forbid we should. Much needed, and think about being happy, kind, and considerate to others. That's pretty much the basis for the show. So the fact that I have you on right now, and I will have other guests and I call friends, and so I am delighted that you're here with us this evening. If you could tell us your first, however you pronounce your name, your first, your last name, the name of your company, if you have an email address, and then you're going to tell the audience how you can help them, and just as importantly, how they can help you. Let's make it a win-win situation.
First of all, thank you so very much for having me on here. It's a great opportunity to get out me, and that's basically what I have to offer. I'm an artist. I call my business Gabriel Arts in Action. Gabriel was my namesake, and I kind of like the idea of being named after an archangel, you know, Raphael, and not one of the Ninja Turtles. They missed that one. Michelangelo. Anyhow, what I want to bring to people is a better understanding of all the possibilities of art, both what's out there and what people are capable of creating, enjoying. It's very misunderstood. I like to think of myself as a myth buster. And Gabriel Arts in Action includes both my commission artwork, something about my teaching, and also the fact that I'm a certified art appraiser. And all of those feed each other. But one of the main things is, for me, having people understand that there's so much more to art than they're usually given to believe or informed about. My favorite student is the one who was told in grade school, oh, you have to be born with it. That makes my back teeth crunch. That's not true. I also like to see people who have tried to develop some talent, and somewhere along the line somebody said, well, maybe this isn't for you, or maybe if you're not painting like me, then you're not going to be an artist. And healing that misunderstanding and breaking that open is one of my great joys. So I have a couple of different venues. I teach through UNLV Continuing Education. I mean, I've been here in town since 1991. And back then I was teaching through Continuing Ed, both at CSN and UNLV. But there's only one of me. Sometimes I'm not sure. And so I teach, if I can get cozy to laugh, I'm doing really well. Thank you. I teach startup classes. I call them level 1 and level 2, and in some instances level 3. But that in no way means beginner, intermediate, and advanced, because you can't do that in that short a span. Plus, not everybody learns at the same speed. So I teach beginning watercolor 1, acrylic 1, drawing 1, and also, and I was looking at your mother's face, I love that. Not just because she's your mother, portrait drawing, beginning portrait drawing. And I also like to do a lot of information about how art is affected by socioeconomic situations, politics, personal experiences, physiology. Most people have no idea how their eyes operate and what is already in their brain that is forming their artwork, whether they realize it or not. Pure technical stuff. What's the best brush without having to break the bank? How the colors work, how the different media. Because you may start with oil paint thinking it's classical, not be able to relate to it or can't stand the smell, and think that that's it. Well, maybe colored pencil. I've seen amazing work done in colored pencil. I've seen people pull off phenomenal stuff with crayons. It's about being motivated, being shown the best way to apply the materials you have, knowing that there are infinite options. It can be a business, it can be a therapy, it can just be an excuse to get together with friends and make artwork that's more personal than what you get at some of the setups. Do you have any questions? Because I'll run on like this forever.
I'll stop you.
Okay, you'll stop.
So right now, I do have a question, or
Okay.
2 or 3.
Shoot.
So you were at UNLV. Where are you now?
I continue to teach at UNLV Continuing Ed.
Right now? The
Oh,
building's open?
absolutely. I've had to, well, first of all, it's a separate campus.
Okay.
It's the Tropicana, it's Paradise campus. It's across the street from the main campus. We're under very strict regulations.
Okay.
There's only 9 people in a class.
As opposed to normal?
Normal, I would take up to 18. I used
Okay.
to do 20, but I can't really give people enough attention that way. I had to go through a whole online course and pass that about COVID regulations. Everyone has to wear a mask, that goes without saying.
Right.
They have hand sanitizer available as you walk in, plus they disinfect the desks. And I do that when I have 2 classes in a row. I do it myself. I have to take my temperature in the morning before I go in, which I do. And it's more complex than that, but they've really done a thorough job of it. So I do have those classes starting up the end of January. Some of them are full already.
And this is and I know there's no such thing as a stupid question because I
No, there
like to
aren't
call
any.
myself the queen of questions. So when
Damn, I
you,
thought I was gonna get that crown.
no, I own that one, and I also own PHP, Professional Happy Person.
Oh, that one.
Don't try taking my titles,
No, I
Gabe.
still
That's
need
the
training
Gabby.
here.
Okay, so listen up.
Yeah.
When the person that wants to do crayons, or the person that wants to do pencil, and the person that wants to do maybe acrylic, these are 3 separate classes, correct?
Yes. Well, I'm not teaching crayon, but I believe that everything is tied together.
Okay.
Okay. So color theory applies whether you're doing designs on your nails or doing a 30-foot mural.
Okay.
Composition. A painting can be stronger or weaker, any piece of artwork, depending on how you arrange things in it. And a lot of that, for me, I don't necessarily dump all this on the student, goes back into a lot of psychology, brain wiring. We have stuff in our head that you don't even realize.
See, we don't want to go into what's in my head. That's
maybe
another
not.
show.
Maybe not. But it has helped me understand a better way to teach by understanding how these things work. And brushwork, if you are working with a paintbrush, there are differences, but there are also enormous numbers of similarities between how you fill a brush, how you push it against whatever surface you're leaving a mark on.
That's what you're teaching.
That's what I'm teaching. And it even applies to some of the dry media like pastels and stencil.
Do your students, do they necessarily have had any kind of art class?
No, absolutely not.
Is that your preference? Newbies?
I get the most rush out of teaching newbies, but I don't do that. If I wanted to continue to teach only people who show portfolio, I never would have quit the college job in upstate New York, where it was a commercial arts college. No, I like people to feel that they can come as they are because they will find out that they have experiences or abilities that will feed into their artwork. I've had a number of people who are hairdressers. Well, they understand 3-dimensional design because that's the only way they can make your hair look good on your head. They understand color theory, and they don't realize that that's transferable into their artwork. People who do floral arrangements, again, they have a sense of color and pattern and composition. And they don't even think about it in terms of getting paint on a canvas or looking at something and drawing. So I absolutely thrive. I get intoxicated when I can find someone and go, don't you realize you already know that? I mean, if the only thing you've done is athletics and you go to a figure drawing class, well, you understand the muscles and how they work and how the body can pose better than somebody who doesn't. And you don't even realize you have that in your insides. So that makes a very interesting range of possibilities for me, because basically anybody can teach if they recognize that.
Well, I don't
They
know if the
respect
word,
it.
I don't know if the word is everyone can teach as opposed to everyone can learn.
Everyone can learn. Okay.
Okay,
And
'cause
sometimes I can't talk either.
It's okay. That's why I'm
Inspire
here.
again.
I'll help you learn.
Thank you.
So, and that was gonna be a question again, if someone has never, when I was in high school,
Yeah.
I'll never forget this because I don't know why. And it was 9th grade, we were in an annex, doesn't matter, I'm in New York City right now in the classroom, and we had to take an art class. And that was when everyone was drawing fruit.
Oh, absolutely. That's one of
Was
my
that, was that an error?
That was an error. When
Oh,
I was-
an error as opposed to an error?
When I was in high school,
Uh-huh.
the guys were drawing Mustangs and vehicles with dual exhausts and airfoils.
What
and
high
God
school
knows
were
what
you
else.
in?
But no, not that they were drawing that in art class. That's what boys that age do. You put a bowl of fruit in front of them, they didn't want to draw it, they wanted to eat it. So part of it is finding what you relate to. I wanted to do dragons and unicorns and things with wings.
Okay, so that brings up a question. Just as I sat there without any art ability and had no interest, it wasn't real fruit, by the way, so we couldn't have eaten it. But that same boy who you're saying wants to draw a car, unless he's taught how, or sometimes we all come here with innate abilities.
Yeah, that's true.
He has to be taught.
Yes, but it's a teachable skill.
Right.
Genius I can't teach.
Mhm.
Inspiration sometimes I can fire it up. I have to
Mhm.
know the person well enough to know what motivates them.
Mhm.
But the pure mechanical skill of it is available if you want it. And that's what motivated me. When somebody in 3rd grade, when some teacher said, you gotta be born with it, immediately my hackles went up that far back.
Mhm.
And basically I didn't see any difference in the teaching when I went to, okay, I'm gonna drop it, an Ivy League fine arts college. It was still that kind of thing that, well, we're gonna throw you out there, and if you can swim, great, and if you can't, well, it's not our fault.
So you went to college for your art.
Yes, I did.
What year, well, how old were you when you realized you had this talent? And your parents also fed it so that you could become who you are today?
I hate to say it, but I think my parents only saw it as leverage to get into an Ivy League school where I could find a wealthy, well-connected
Mhm.
spouse.
Mhm.
Boy, did I screw that up on purpose, or maybe not.
Yeah.
No, I went there and found that's where I found that art history. I mean, you say it and immediately people are going, I mean, they're falling asleep.
Mhm.
It's vibrant, it's informative, it's crazy, it's more interesting than the usual history. You find out that everything has been done and everything is possible, and some people were fabulous and in their lifetimes, and some were fabulous and weren't recognized till after they died.
Mhm.
And so I had to fight with that, because I was in college from 69 to 73, and that was when abstract expressionism was big, and I wasn't into that. So I was constantly being art shamed,
Mhm.
that maybe I should be an illustrator
Mhm.
or whatever. And again, that also honed my attitude that you are entitled to make the art that resonates with you. It may sell, it may not sell, you may want to pursue it as a career, you may only want it as a hobby, but you can't denigrate what you have just because it's not what's vogue.
So when they come to your class, they sign up for your class, and of
Mhm.
course I know there's a description. Do they come in, so I come in and I say, Gabby, I want to draw pretty bowls, or someone else comes in and I want to draw cars. Is your class designed so everyone is doing pretty much the same thing, but you know what I'm trying to
Perfect,
ask you?
thank you. I also have classes that I teach at an art store down in Henderson. They're wonderful people. Desert Art Supply, they have a teaching room there. He
Okay.
didn't have to do that. He could have made it all retail space.
Mhm.
And that's more like independent study. At the university, especially for these ground up classes,
Mhm.
I have to have everybody do the same thing in order to make sure that the skill set I want them exposed to is there. But I make a point of varying the subject. We'll do one still life, one landscape, possibly an animal, and I break it down. And drawing is the master skill, because you don't have to know how to draw. There are ways around it.
Mhm.
But if you learn to draw, then everything else can be built on those bones. At the art store, And again, at this point, we are limited because of COVID. It's only 6 people. I used to be able to take up to 8. And we're very conscientious about that. The store is, you can bring in any media you want to work with and any subject matter you want to work with, because it's few enough people that I can deal with them all individually. They can all be at different levels. And I find the connecting things. I'll do a demo on color. People doing landscapes have a heck of a time making more than one kind of green. I've done commissions for golf courses. I know from greens. They may feel like, I really want to do this, but I can't draw it. All right, I can give you 5 different ways to get that image on your canvas in scale, so it can become almost like a coloring book. You still have to use color. You can choose your own. You still have to decide what brushes to use. You can make modifications. So the group of classes at the university is more structured, but it's not rigid. Because as I go through the class, I may change the projects depending on the feel of the class as a whole. But at the art store, it's oh wow, maybe I like your colored pencil work. I'd like to try some. Can I try some colored pencil work? Sure, here's what you need to buy to start up, or I can loan you some stuff to play with. So it's 2 different feelings.
So it sounds like we're only talking about adults. 21 and over, 18 and over?
I've had some younger students. It's one of my, you gotta what is it? A man's gotta recognize his limitations. Thank you, Clint Eastwood. I love kids. I make a great aunt. But they look at me and it's like, oh, I can bend this one around my little finger. So I'm really not a good instructor for kids. Anywhere, depending on their motivation and maturity, I've had from like 12 up. I've had a couple of students who were putting together portfolios for the art school here. Was at Las Vegas Academy. That's been a while. I have one student who started with me at about 17. Now she's at a university in Arizona doing animation and all kinds of. Now I can't do animation, but I've done storyboards and I've even done small independent graphic novels. I've been in a couple of anthologies with that.
Fabulous.
So, granted, if I run into an area, like simple truth, there are areas where I am more experienced and knowledgeable, and there are areas where I'm not. And I'll tell you right up front.
So if I come in with my coloring book and my crayons, you said you don't do crayons, would you help me learn to stay in the lines?
No. I'll is that fast enough for you?
She said no.
No.
Well, who was going to help me learn how to color?
No, I will show you how to color with or without the lines. I want you to have options. In artwork, it's always, for me, well, in life, it's about options. I did have a student, she's been with me for, I think, 12 years now. She had been working colored pencil and coloring books. And she enjoyed it, but she was getting bored and she was starting to feel limited. The first thing we did is I showed her, because she didn't want to learn how to draw necessarily, we didn't know that yet. She wanted to have more original looking work that did look like coloring book work. So I showed her like 3 different types of paper that she could put over any image and see it through that well enough to color on top of it. No lines. She's done work from her daughter's photography. She's done all kinds of stuff. She's left out birds and added in more flowers and things, but she's done an enormous amount of work with a colored pencil.
Is she your most seasoned, I don't know if you call them customer, client, student?
Most of my students, if they stay with me, they also become friends. We become almost like a community.
So yeah. So how long is a class?
A standard class is 3 hours.
For how many months? How many?
Well, the university classes run 5 sessions. 3 hours, except for portrait drawing, which is 6. But the ones at the art store, it's pay as you go. I do not sell a book of classes. I don't a block. I've had people who wanted to pay me in advance, but I learned this long before COVID. Stuff happens. So I don't want to have to keep bookkeeping on what somebody owes me or what I owe them. So it's a matter of calling me to make sure there's room, checking with me. Well, with the university, you can call in and find out if the class is there.
Correct.
So.
It sounds like you have enjoyed your, how many years?
Well, I've been here since 91.
But how long have you been
teaching?
I guess, the art field? Because you're an artist first.
Yeah.
And then you became a teacher, instructor teacher.
Yeah.
The world of art, how long? Your entire life?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, I'd say that.
So I'd say it's something that you're passionate about and great at.
Second grade, when they asked us what we wanted to be, I said
Yes.
an artist and a part-time poetess, and now I'm also
Wow.
writing.
Wow. See,
Because that's
interesting.
what-
They asked me in kindergarten what I wanted to be, and I said I want to be a teacher. That's exactly what I am.
I was gonna say, perfect,
Mhm.
not necessarily
4
within the lines.
4 years old. Never stayed in the lines. I wasn't going to draw in the lines. I wasn't going to walk in the lines. I was going to, I tried to go outside the lines.
Yeah.
Within the law. How's that?
Yeah.
Gabby, we are at the point where I want to talk about a cozyism. Why are you holding that up?
You're not getting away without putting an autograph on this.
I'm not,
Okay.
but
All right.
if you can.
I'm ready for the cozies.
All right. So I'm going to pull a cozyism out. Again, it's something that's already in the book. If it is not something that immediately makes your brain snap, because your brain's doing really good right now, we're not, both of us aren't having senior moments, please tell me I'll pull another one.
Okay.
All right, so this cozyism,
What does that face mean?
it's good for you.
Okay.
And so here, a cozyism. If you do not like your life, why would you put it on someone else?
I love it. I love it. I have told people, be who you are, do what you do, believe what you believe, but don't try and put it on me. Don't shove it up my nose. Don't think I'm not gonna convert. I'm not, Yes, that's perfect. Too many people, if you are trying to put on somebody else, to me that means that you're not as secure about it as you think you are, because you gotta convince somebody else to agree with you. I love it.
Or as I thought of it when I wrote it, you're selfish. You're selfish, you're insecure, and you're needy as heck. So your life is you haven't figured it out yet, and or you're redesigning, because I'm an optimist. And in the meantime, you want to, always great examples. Persons who maybe want to get married, and one of the parties in the relationship is not quite ready financially, mentally, they're just not ready to settle down, and that's a torrent inside the head,
Yeah.
right? But that person wants to get married, and now you're going to say yes, and it's not going to end well for either party. We all know people in our lives that are not happy, and then they come around you. Another aside, a segue. When I was a teenager, I was a teenager.
I like the way you laughed when you said that.
Well, yeah. Teenage years in my head are looking back were, wow. And I really relate to teenagers. That's why I like the ninth graders through the the fifth through the ninth graders. That's that hormonal, and nobody tells you about it. You don't know why. And I remember distinctly my mother saying to me, "Take your evil ass to your room." Constantly. And what I recognized at that time as a teenager, not in like my life, I was tired of being told what to do. I was tired of doing this. I was tired of doing that. I was tired of being controlled, which is what her job was.
Yeah.
And thank God she did.
Yeah.
But I recognized I didn't want to do this stuff anymore, but I didn't have a choice. It wasn't options. I have options in my life now. But there are so many people we all deal with. Again, folks, we're talking about how to stay happy, being a professional happy person, how to be positive, and how to bring that light and that mindset with you wherever you are, whether it's your job, whether it's your relationships, your home life. How can you be a positive person in someone else's life? So if you're, this is a heavier one, but it's true. You've got a habit of some sort. Let's use alcohol. I had the unfortunate displeasure of living with an alcoholic, and I didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
Those are 18 months of my life that
felt
I don't
like
believe I lived.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was that terrible.
Yeah.
So when this person didn't admit, when she invited me to try to help me out, and her heart was good, she treated me like crap. Well, immediately I recognized when I knew in my head, daggone it, I'm living with an alcoholic. She didn't like her life. Why did you invite me to come live with you? Or again, there's so many instances. We see it every day. We have people in our lives, our neighbors, our friends, our brothers, our sisters, our best friends, and they'll come around and you'll say, why is she bringing that crap to me? I had a person on the show earlier, or another show, and we were talking about getting rid of people and the goal as we get older to not.
Taking the toxicity out of
That's
your
right.
life.
These are the people we're talking about.
Yeah.
If you do not like your life, why would you put it on someone else? And I believe the answer is because I'm unhappy, I'm insecure, and I'm selfish.
Yeah. Because
So-
you want everybody to be as miserable as you are, so you're not
Because
loved.
misery loves
Company.
company.
Not around here.
Not around here.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so as we mature or as we grow, doesn't matter how old we are, and whoever's watching the show and maybe getting something out of it, and I hope they are, think about it. Try not to, try to fix what's wrong, first of all. Go ahead.
One of the things that really, really impressed me about the cozyisms, and I did write a review already,
Okay.
Unsolicited testimonial,
Okay.
is that they're so concentrated that you can pull one of them and we can talk about it for an hour. But it's that concentrated that it grabs you, makes you think about it, may make you laugh, it may make you go, But it catches you because it's so concentrated.
Mhm.
So
It's
that-
almost
yeah.
what I, you know, so.
It's a punch, yeah.
Yeah.
You do that well, martial arts.
Yeah. I'm a good fighter too. Probably not now, I'd probably break my
Oh,
hand.
please.
However,
Please won't make
you
me stupid.
brought your book up earlier,
Yes,
my
I
book.
did. I bought your book up earlier, but there's something else in here.
What's in there?
Art.
Yes.
So you're talking to an artist.
I
You think I'm gonna
know.
go through what you wrote
Isn't that great?
only?
Isn't that great art?
It took me a long time, I'll admit it, to learn to appreciate abstract. And
Mhm.
one of the things I try and educate my students in is just because it looks like a photograph doesn't mean it's good.
Mm-hmm.
And just because it looks like somebody ran over a pizza doesn't mean it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I love these. I love the fact that the artist that you found has such varied techniques and impact. And how you pick which one to go with which cozyism, I have no idea.
It just was
It's about
God.
his soul.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, the creator.
He is, and as one artist talking about another, I had never met him, Gabe.
How
Hi,
the heck
Gabby.
did you? No, that's okay. I'll
Yeah,
answer
I've
it.
never met him. He was introduced. We were introduced over the phone by
Yeah.
a mutual friend.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, when I was doing this book, he was in India, and we were. I was just going on his website, and he allowed me to go and copy and paste.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And
Wow.
there was only one because of him being from India.
Mm.
The elephant one. When I put that particular picture, he called me. He said, "Oh no, Cozy, the whole country will go nuts." That particular painting for those particular words
Right.
would have been insulting.
You have to be so careful multicultural. And
Mhm.
most people aren't used to being careful when they're not being multicultural. So
How did I know I was going to have a gentleman from India be my illustrator, my buddy, and now we're getting ready. We're getting ready to do our second. We're getting ready to do our second book together. So as I write some wonderful words in here, maybe I'll think of some wonderful words for you. Could you please let the audience know again? Give them your name, your number, telephone, email address, both of your locations where they can find you, please.
The name of the company is Gabriel Arts in Action, and the website is lasvegasartsinaction.com, Las Vegas Arts, plural, inaction.com. My cell number is 702-580-8333. I text, I email, I Instagram. I'm not too bad for someone my age. My legal name is Gay, G-A-E-C Hirsch. There's a story behind that too, but not for tonight. Gabriel is my namesake. Gabby is what everybody calls me. I'm good with that. It's obviously true.
Mm-hmm.
And I do both art instruction, commission work. I've done murals, I've done portraits, I've done logos. I do a little bit of digital work as well. I just finished illustrations for a children's book. She's not ready to do Amazon with it yet, so I'm not pushing that. And I also do art appraisals. Now, that's a very misunderstood field. That's another place where I like to educate.
Okay.
If you want to call me about a piece of artwork, I do a lot of pro bono because people aren't going to spend the going rate for hourly when they have one piece of artwork that it turns out is just an old magazine page that's been framed. So I'm open to discussing that with anybody. The art classes take place at Desert Art Supply in Henderson, but you would call me to find out about it.
And it's also going to be on the webpage.
And it's going to be on the webpage.
Right.
And UNLV Continuing Ed has just started their season. I think January 28th starts the acrylic classes, but I've got a whole raft of them for spring. So you can find those on continuing education. UNLV, I think they also call it educational outreach.
Mhm.
But there are enough ways to navigate it that even I can find it on the internet.
Okay, don't forget this.
Okay,
Again, thank you very much for
And
being a
thank
guest on Cozy Up and Pay Attention.
I appreciate it.
Don't be a stranger, please come back another time. This is the time of the show where I like to say to my audience, hold the door, say please, say thank you. Don't steal, don't cheat, and don't lie. I know you've got mountains to climb, but always stay humble and kind. Good night, see you next week.